I love the idea that like Goro is probably not like a total fail son, but it's just
No.
that Hayao has such high like expectations for him that he cannot meet them.
Yeah, no, there's literally no way. Like that man has unretired multiple times because nobody can do what he does, and that's not their fault, it's his fault.
Yeah. Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music through the lens of our favorite artist discographies. I'm Troy Sennett.
And I'm Matt Kistler.
And today we are starting a new series on one of my all-time favorite bands. This is the Hotelier of Boston-ish, Massachusetts. We're starting with their first album, It Never Goes Out, as well as the EPs and kind of one-offs that they released before that, covering just generally the first couple years of their existence, when they were a very young, I guess, high school band, probably the greatest high school band to have ever existed. I said that to Lacey today, and she was like, what about Paramore? And she's probably right about that.
Probably.
But I don't know. This band means a ton to me, and this album means a lot to me, not to mention the other two perfect albums that come after it. And I'm just very excited to spend, it's a short series, but to spend some time talking about this band. So, Matt, how did you come to the Hotelier and It Never Goes Out?
So I came to the Hotelier, I want to say that I came across a thing on probably punknews.org announcing the release of I think it was when they dropped it must have been Life in Drag, because that was the first Hotelier song I ever heard, unless I heard something from It Never Goes Out beforehand and didn't realize it, which seems wild in retrospect, so I'm imagining that's not how it went.
Yeah. So this is like January 2014 probably.
Yeah, roundabouts. I
neglected to mention that It Never Goes Out came out in sometime in 2011. I think they independently released it and then put it out on a label. But yeah, so sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's cool. So yeah, this was post It Never Goes Out. I heard Life in Drag. I remember thinking that was rad because I was like very much getting back into screamo mode at that point in my life, like very much getting back on that genre. And I then went back and listened to, I forget what was the first single off that album, because it wasn't that.
No, it was Scope of All This Rebuilding.
It was Scope of All This Rebuilding. I listened to that, and I remember like being like, this is really good, but I'm also a little disappointed that it doesn't sound like that other song. But I did recognize like right then that like I was like, okay, this band's got something special going on. So like I like pre-ordered Home Like No Places There. And then at some point after that, I listened to this record, and it didn't stick with me a ton then, and I don't really know why, because like listening to it now, especially like kind of, you know, looking back at it, you know, through the scope of their entire career thus far, like it's really accomplished for what it is, and also just on its own merits. Like, it's a good album. I don't know what was wrong with me back in like 2014.
Well, I think that's like kind of the curse of hearing this album after you hear Home Like No Places There, which is it's kind of what the Ian Cohen Pitchfork, like retrospective Pitchfork review is about, or I guess the review when they reissued it in 2015. Like, because that's the experience of, I would say, like, what, 99% of Hotelier fans at this point probably heard Home first and then went backwards.
Yeah.
And if you do it that way, like, this does feel like Juvenilia or whatever, but like just to contrast, like I was in early 2011, I started writing for a music blog. That was like my first, like, oh, I have a thing that I'm doing in the you know, music industry, which is, it was a Tumblr. It was not that, but like I felt really cool about it. But I started getting advances of records, and this was like a pretty early one that I got. I want to say I got it in like the spring of 2011. But I don't know if that's possible because I mean, again, different sources give me different dates for when this album came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I got it in like the spring of 2011, and I just remember being like just floored by this album when I first heard it, because I was so into this style of like kind of, you know, fast, like not quite like snotty pop punk, but like, a little bit nasally, a little bit like, I liked fast, loud, shouty, but like with really good melody. And like this felt like this band did it better than anyone else was doing it at the time. So like, I think of myself like not quite a day one Hotelier fan, but kind of like day two, I guess.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah. And I don't know, this like an Ode to the Night Rats Club just became a song that I put on like every playlist or mixtape or whatever that I would make for anyone, and they grew into like just extremely special band for me really quickly. And then so I was like ready when they then we didn't even mention this they put this album out under a different band name. They were called the Hotelier.
Yes.
Which they then changed because they thought was dumb, and there was a band called My Hotelier, both of which I assume are Atari's references.
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah, and so then they changed it to the Hotelier, which was like a joke. And I remember being like uncertain if they were serious about the name change or whatever at the time. And we'll probably talk about a handful of things in this where like they'll do stuff that is like they think is silly or is supposed to be really silly, but people took seriously, or they did stuff seriously that then people thought was a joke, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think that's like a running theme throughout their careers. They kind of like never quite. So every once in a while they would struggle to like the fans would misinterpret stuff or whatever. Like there was some tone mismatch there, but
right.
The songs were always great. The one thing that's really funny looking back on this that I had forgotten is when they put this out and then they signed to Mightier Than Sword Records, who does like the official release of it. They signed to Mightier Than Sword at the absolute worst time. This label that basically bankrupted and destroyed themselves by trying to do a vinyl reissue of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket by Blink-182 that had three.
That's right.
Yeah, with the 3 different colored 7-inches for the bonus tracks. And the label just completely went under within like months after this album came out, which I'm sure did not help any like press or promo or whatever that they would have hoped to get from it.
No.
But that was like a funny thing to remember as I'm reading back through everything about this album, which it like didn't come out physically at the time. Tiny Engines reissued it later. But yeah, I mean, so revisiting it, like, do you feel like it kind of has taken on its own mystique or anything? Like, you appreciate it more for what it actually is as opposed to like this kind of, this is what they were doing before they made a great thing?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. I in a weird way, like, I feel like I align with that Ian Cohen review in a lot of ways, in that like I do see like I see a lot of youth in this album, and I see a lot of like kind of stuff that's a little more on the nose than like what they would go on to write later. But I also feel like I see that they know that they are doing that. Like, this is a band that is very aware of their, I shouldn't say very aware maybe, because I don't want to speculate on that, but from what I can tell, they seem like they are more aware of their place in the world than other bands their age, other bands in this genre specifically. There's a sense of self-awareness around everything in this album, but it doesn't like make it come off ironically. It just comes off as like, we are trying to figure things out and we realize that. And I think that lends a degree of authenticity to this record that like other records in like this kind of like corner of pop punk that they're sort of occupying while also sort of straddling into emo and other various subgenres. Like they don't touch that like normally. And like, and I think that's what makes it great.
You hit on I think the thing that is so amazing about this record is that this record, like, you read the, ignore listening to the how the vocals sound or whatever, just like read the lyrics, and like this album was either written by someone who was 17 or someone who was 37. Like there's no in between. There's this kind of like, it has this unbridled confidence of youth, but also this like recognition of all the fear or like the loss and the heartbreak that comes with growing up. And it's like they've lived their lives. It's like they've lived the entire cycle and are then able to go back and write from the place of youth again, but they've done it all by the time they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they did it. And like even some of the songs are like literally about that. Like this idea that like you're talking to your past self or whatever, but like how many past selves do you have when you're 17? Like I'm like, the more I go back, like I loved this album, 14 years ago or whatever, and I just even now, like I don't know, you're right, they have so much perspective on their place in the world. And I mean, this is a band, like it was kind of the first band that, yeah, like you said, that I remember hearing like singing about themes of like privilege or one's place in the world compared to others, or like spitting in the face of billionaires. Like this is stuff that just became like the like mainline, like kind of lefty Twitter, vernacular 5 years later. And but like they were writing about this stuff much earlier, and they were probably the people posting about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know, I think this album is really great. And it's kind of like just a perfect 30 minutes of pop punk. I'm excited to get into the songs and talk about it. I had a joy revisiting it this week.
Yeah. I did. We'll obviously talk about the song specifically later, but just like I think something that kind of encapsulates the way that I feel about this record is something I said about Lonely Hearts Club is a Let's Get Out of Town song that actually has some degree of emotional depth. And like that last part is like, yep, like that's what's missing from this in all other contexts.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, not to disparage any other band that's done that. We've talked about many bands that have done that and done that well, but this is a little different.
Yeah, it is. But before we get to like the songs on It Never Goes Out, we should talk about the EPs that were released before that. There's the We Are All Alone EP from 2009, and then a 2-song demo from 2010. We probably don't need to go song by song through these, but were there any particular highlights or anything that stuck out to you going back to these? These do feel like a younger band because they are. I mean, it's still like I cannot believe that like no band at my high school was this good. But
right.
You can tell that they are not as refined as they are on the full length.
Yeah, for sure. No, like I felt like I got a decent amount out of like any of these given songs. Like I liked Southern Discomfort a lot. Like the time shifts in that are super cool.
There's 2 things we have to talk about in Southern Discomfort.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so one of them is, of course, that Southern Discomfort is the song that gets reworked on Home Like No Place Is There into Discomfort Revisited.
Yep.
They take some lyrics, some of the guitar parts, the melodies, and sort of restructure that into Discomfort Revisited. The other thing is this song just full on interpolates Brand New in a way that I was not prepared for.
Yeah, it does do that.
Like, I mean, this is the way that Brand New, for all the many terrible things that are associated with that band now, that I don't want to go back and listen to them. Every once in a while, when I pick up an acoustic guitar, my impulse is still to just strum a D chord and start singing "Soco Amaretto Lime." It's so built into me from when I was a teenager. And so like to hear that melody, like, because I had forgotten that they did this because I like these EPs and I would listen to them occasionally a long time ago, but I don't go back to them that much. So it just like literally I was like, oh my god, they're doing the Brand New thing. And that, I mean, whatever, I'm gonna praise a thing that Jesse Lacey wrote for a second. That melody rules, and it's so catchy, and it's it's one of those things that's been kind of stuck in my head since I was 13 or whatever. And so yeah, to hear it there with like sort of inverted lyrics, and then it goes on to do a thing in the second half of that chorus that I think is really cool. What is the lyric as I pull it up here? A lyric like "the only thing you have forever is always kept in a cell," which is again one of those lyrics that feels like it was written by someone much older.
Right.
I don't know. I think this song is really great, even if it makes me think about Brand New, or in spite of the fact that it makes me think about Brand New. I think it overcomes that association that obviously happened much later than the song was written.
Right, for sure. I dig that song a lot. Despite
really good.
Despite that interpolation. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Bird Brain is weirdly bouncy.
I don't like Bird Brain.
It's not that great.
Yeah.
That said, I do like Rhapsody in Black and Rhapsody in Blue. Both of those have an at the beginning. They're not just ripping off George Gershwin. I like them as a set. I think that's a really cool move on their part, especially for a first EP.
Yeah, the transition between them on that one like looping guitar part is really cool. Those are the two on the EP that I feel like point the way towards It Never Goes Out.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing, on the 2-song demo that has Even the Keys Need to Be Locked Up and Named After an Inside Joke, which I think are two kind of like songs that feel like they're tilting at a more punk tone that doesn't quite work for them. They're trying something, and I think they pull it back a little bit on It Never Goes Out. But I gotta say that one of the funniest things that this band has ever done is sing the Serenity Prayer over a ska part.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yes.
just cannot deal with that every time it happens. It's so weird.
So my note on that is I wonder how many members of, speaking of problematic bands, how many members of the Hotelier had a phase where they really liked Choking Victim and Leftover Crack. At least one of them did. I know that for a
certainly.
fact. But yeah, I think that song is actually pretty good. We get Bruce in there also. That's fun.
Yep. That's a good like kind of early example of them doing the Christian Holden, the main vocalist, and then Zach Shaw, the guitar player, who will have some parts on the demos and the first album. I think they use their kind of alternating vocals really well in that song.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I like Named After an Inside Joke, but like it doesn't stand out a ton to me.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me that like none of these songs were re-recorded for the album.
Right.
I think they sort of hone in and focus on the sound that they want to go for on the album, and it feels all like it all fits together.
Definitely.
But yeah, let's talk about the album. I feel like we're moving quick, but there's not like a lot of lore around this band or whatever at this time, like there are with some of the bands we've talked about.
Yeah, no, this is a band starting off the way that most bands start off, I feel like.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like you wouldn't. Yeah, this in another world, like something like this We're All Alone EP or whatever would be like the weird kind of ephemera of a band, an artist who went on to be in a much bigger band. But yeah, now this is like, oh no, their high school band just was the one.
Yeah, we did it. We got it in one somehow.
Yeah. So It Never Goes Out starts with Our Lives Would Make a Sad, Boring Movie, which is, in my opinion, a perfect opening track. It is just like a manifesto in the form of a 3-minute pop punk song. And it is genuinely, I think, perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. I do love that we get that like kind of classic hi-hat count in right at the beginning. Like it's like, this is a punk record and you're gonna love it. And it's obviously more than I don't want to disparage punk rock by saying it's more than just a punk record, but like, you know what I mean. It's not like Ramones core or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's using all of the pop punk trends of the time. Like,
yeah,
because this is right around the time like the Wonder Years are coming up, and you've got Fireworks and Such Gold, and all that entire scene is ascendant at the time, combined with a healthy dose of Latterman or whatever, that kind of like slightly more like quote unquote real punk stuff that's going on at the time. But yeah, no, they're using all of that, and it feels like it fit in so perfectly then, but it also stood out because it was done so much better than basically any other band at their level.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of those bands where like they profess to be a punk rock band, and like they definitely are, but it's like it's the type of punk rock where it's like they are listening to everything that is like branched out of punk rock. Yeah, and I always appreciate when that's a thing. Kind of coming over to the lyrics a little bit. Something that I had a thought about earlier was, man, I feel like my my college anthropology professor would love this song, because her, I think it was her doctoral thesis. One of her theses. Theses? Theses. Let's go ask Martin. No. Was her study was focused early on in her career on schooling, like as it exists as an institution, like not like what you learn in school, but like the form school takes and the ways in which that molds you as a person living in the U.S. In like traditional like public schools. Which I feel like is a thing that is being lamented pretty hard here. And like specifically in one line, but like it feels like that attitude permeates the song.
Well, I mean, and just to go extra textually, like Christian, I think in his personal life is pretty involved in like some unschooling movements and like camps around unschooling and stuff like that. So that is, I mean, heck, maybe there's like an actual connection there.
They're
your
almost
professor.
I could see it. I could absolutely see it.
Yeah. But no, the song is very critical of the sort of on rails life path that every white kid in the suburbs gets set on or whatever, or every American basically, that that school is this thing that keeps you in line and teaches you to obey and you learn the story of the United States as the empire wants it to look or whatever. And it's a song about trying to about aspiring to a different path to doing something that is important personally, that betters the world or whatever.
Yeah, I can't argue against that either, because like I was definitely that person. I did not reach this level in high school where I like had some degree of like self-awareness around like, oh yeah, maybe I should think a little beyond what I've like been taught. Like I was obviously into punk at the time, but I wasn't doing a lot of like extra reading or anything like that. So like, I feel like if this had hit me in high school, I might have gotten the extra push I needed. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I was 19 when I heard this. Like, it probably should have. I don't know. I like you said, it kind of like I agree with basically everything in this song. And yet I have also done the kind of the exact thing that the song cautions against. Like, I went to college and got a corporate job and bought a house and all this stuff, and like I don't feel like it's worn me down to the point that I'm too weak to work, too frail to play or whatever, and have no friends. Like it worries about is this idea that you age into loneliness and despair, and then when you're dying you are just thinking about the songs that you loved when you were a teenager and you want that freedom again. Like I don't think I'm that far gone, but this song made me really think about that as I was listening to it this week. And this is one that I go back to all the time. Like, it's not like I'm just revisiting this for the first time. Like, I think about this song a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's really affecting and also really catchy at the same time.
Yeah, it's so well constructed. Like it's just a really fucking good opener.
You remember the melodies even though there's no repeated lyrics, there's no quote unquote chorus. It's just a bunch of really excellent parts. And I mean, yeah, and then getting to the end of the song where there's the start dealing with your privileges, smash a TV, read a book, or see the world. Like, there's that advice is like eternally, nothing bad can come of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. It's a great song. It is almost impossible to follow that song, I think, as an opener.
Yeah, that's fair. But but we do.
Right. Well, yeah. So Vacancy is the second song, and I think it has a tough job here coming after that opener, and I don't think it really tries to like top it. It aims for something a little bit different. It's a little more, it's in 6/8. It feels a little bit different, and it's more resigned to the weariness of aging, I guess is how I would put it.
Yeah, I described this track in my notes as world weary for sure.
Yeah,
and just regular weary.
Yeah, it's a different, not quite like nihilistic is the wrong word, but certainly less optimistic than the person who's coming out of the gate with Our Lives to Make a Sad Boring Movie.
Yeah, for sure. I do kind of love the way the song just kind of suddenly ends. I don't know how much that's like actually tied in the lyrics, but I think it's just kind of a neat move.
Yeah, you really hear that like the guitar tone, which is like the pop punk tone of the time, which is like a really loud Marshall probably.
Yep.
That's something that they do, I think, really well on the next couple records, is that they're experimenting with different tones, whereas this one is just kind of like, oh, it's the pop punk sound, but they're pretty talented players, and so they make it work.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like the sort of, oh, we are the same repetition in the bridge. in this song. I think it's one of those things that I don't know. I think Christian as a lyricist and as a vocalist just is able to make you as the listener feel like you're part of something, you're experiencing the emotional arc of a song with him. It is his great talent as a writer.
Yeah, definitely. And like that is explicit in the text. Like, you can't fix this. We are the same because it's burning down. Yeah, you can't fix me. Like, yeah, no, we are the same. You're right, Christian.
Yep. So after that is Lonely Hearts Club. And this is one where Zach Shaw takes over the lead vocals for the first half of it or so. Have you ever heard his other band, Backwards Dancer?
I have not.
Oh, they're really good. I would say they're a little less like pop punk oriented than the Hotelier, or even like less emo oriented. I don't know. They're kind of a dark emo sound. I don't know. I don't want to say they sound like brand new, but they kind of do.
Sure.
But yeah, they're he leaves the band after this record, and that's what he goes on to do this band called Backwards Dancer. That side note, yeah, check them out.
Yeah, I see they did an audio tree session too, which is cool.
Yes.
Nice.
But yeah, this is another one that they're showing like quite a bit of range already on this record, even though I'm like, oh, this is like a pop punk record, but this song has slide guitar in it, and has the second song in a row in 6/8, and I think they're kind of playing with different feels, but they're able to still get to that moment when they're really belting out like the "Let's Rest Our Lonely Hearts."
Yeah. I think this song is pretty outstanding, honestly.
Same.
And it's not just because we get a Vonnegut reference in the middle of it.
An inverted Vonnegut
reference. But listen, we're sad here. we can't just say everything is beautiful and nothing hurt and mean it. We gotta take it. We gotta reverse it. We gotta get you on our level.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I don't believe that this song was written by teenagers when I'm listening to it.
Oh yeah, there's that line. I'm chained to the past with the future in my veins. What the hell is that? Like, I know what that is. I know what that is. But at 17, I wouldn't have known what that was. I wouldn't have been able to summon that from my soul.
Right, to like identify that feeling and put it that way. Yeah, and then from there, it goes into this like Americana inflected bridge. Where at this point Christian has like taken over the lead vocals of the song, and which I mean, no offense to Zach, but it like the song elevates when it changes vocalists.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just getting to this like I said, the kind of Americana thing that they're doing, and that's like you said, it's the Leaving Town song, but it has like there's just this sadness to it where it's like you don't want to leave to like achieve something bigger, you just want to leave to like be sad alone and rest.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It really is.
But it doesn't, in my opinion, hold a candle to an Ode to the Night Rats Club.
Almost nothing else on this album does, which is saying a lot.
I mean, this is my favorite song on the album. I think it's my favorite Hotelier song. It's a contender for one of my favorite songs of all time. This is one of those songs that like I'm probably gonna have a hard time talking about because I think it is basically perfect. I don't know. This is a song about your friends you have when you're 12, 13 years old, and if you're a bratty punk 12-year-old or whatever, you're going out and you're breaking into construction sites and you're spray painting your Night Rats Club like tag on stuff, and it's this petty vandalism and like this idea that like you feel like you own everything and know everything when you're that young. And it's in the way that those friendships evolve and change, and the way that people grow up and grow apart. Yeah, there's so much in the song. You can talk about it a little bit. There's so many lines I want to call out in this song.
Yeah, so like 80% of my notes on this song are just like me writing down a line and going, "Wow." But no, I think what makes this song special, and this is something that I think makes the I found it impossible after my last listen to this record not to just immediately listen to Home after it. And like it kind of got me reading about like the bridge between these two records. And like the thing that people kept pointing out about Home Like No Place Is There compared to this record was that like, oh, this is a turn into more, more personal stuff as opposed to political stuff. And I like, this is much like a lot of other songs we've talked about. This is a song that like has that like specificity of the youth of the author, the narrator, specifically Christian in this case, that like it makes it significantly better in terms of content than like a song that is way more vague about like events that happened. It feels way more like deeply personal. Like I was not one of these kids. I will fully admit I was a total fucking wimp. I had friends who like broke into the abandoned doll factory, and I think McHenry. Those friends were all cooler than me and are still probably all cooler than me. I know at least one is. But anyway, yeah, like that I feel so like strongly connected to this song that like I don't have any like life experience with, despite like the degree of specificity that its lyrics have. I'm like I feel pulled in to what's going on here.
Do you have a person that like it calls to mind when you hear this? Like,
yeah,
'cause I know
absolutely.
I do. Like I have a friend, and Brian. I haven't talked to him in 14 years or whatever, but like, or 15 years, but like we played in a band together, and we like, I'm like you. I wasn't like I wasn't like a night rat, but like
Right.
I feel like you don't have to be to relate to the song. It's like that Signal Midwest lyric that's like never known to be reckless or share the sort of histories of friends, just the same couple stories that I like to tell at parties to pretend like I have an edge. Like, that's me.
Yeah, same.
But like,
honestly.
right, but like I listen to this song and like I can't help but like, you get to the bridge when like the song takes this emotional turn. This, I did when it got way too serious and you showed me your damaged wrists. Like,
yeah.
And that like these two friends kind of reveal something that like they didn't know about each other, that they were fighting with and struggling with and didn't have a way to express. And the lyric is like, if I knew that I would never have that kind of depth, that kind of moment with you again, then I would never, like, I would have never left that moment. Like, I would have tried to be there for you in a way that I wasn't able to be or couldn't, because I was selfish or focused on other things or whatever. And like, I mean, that's how I feel about my friend who I think of in the song. Like, it's almost uncanny, like some of the things about it.
Yeah. Yeah, my other note on this was like I just kind of started off like, oh yeah, this is a cool song about being punk kids, hell yeah, and then the sub bullet of that is until it's not.
Right, it does that turn so well.
Yeah.
But then we have to talk about the last bit of the song is I had no idea what we were doing, but an artist's first work can be his greatest under a different set of lenses, which is just like just a funny lyric to be on this album by a band that evolved into something, hardly anyone is going to tell you that this is their best album, even though I would say like this is probably their best song. Like, no one is going to tell you that this is their best album, but like, in a way, the achievement of it for someone so young is like the most impressive thing about the Hotelier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know, this song is too good.
Yeah, I also do like the play on "Remember the Alamo" in that last verse.
Well, I think, yes, but I think that also was like one of the DIY spots in their town.
Think so.
It was just
yeah.
called the Alamo. Yeah.
Yeah, like
yes,
that may not have been intentional, but it still works out to be that.
I mean,
way.
It certainly was. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more to say about the song. Oh, except that I think it reminds me a lot of the Weaker Thans, especially the middle section.
Yes, I wholeheartly agree with that one.
Certainly is another reason that I like it so much.
Definitely.
Yeah. So then after that is Weathered. They're back in 6/8 again with even more like layers of acoustic guitar. There's like a whistling part in the song that's wonderful. It's a very, I don't know, I think a very warm song that is I mean, it certainly has its share of sadness in it, but I think this is the one where I'm like, it is about stuff that reveals that this is a young band, but it's delivered so earnestly that like, it doesn't even matter that they're writing this kind of almost overly dramatic song about graduating high school, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of this one?
I think I agree on that one. Like the desperation in the delivery, like it sells you. Like, he could be saying anything, and I would be like, you know what? I believe that you felt that, and I am feeling it too a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I love the way this song builds. I love the big woo right before it gets really big.
Oh yeah,
I think that's great.
Dance out in the storm, the woo, and then when it hits on that last like time through the chorus or whatever in the outro, the birds we fly together, that is you can't help but like I want to like climb on someone and sing that song.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's when you throw your arms around the person next to you at the show that you've like been running into a ton, and like you just have a moment. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I do definitely see the like kind of, you know, the they are a young band writing about an event that maybe doesn't necessarily deserve this level of drama, but like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, even I don't know, even just like it's the most cliched like it was love, it was true love, not that shit sold from Hallmark, Hollywood, or Walmart. But like I don't know, it doesn't really matter how old I get. That still lands for me because it's delivered so earnestly.
Yeah, and like it just because a teenager said it doesn't make it not true.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's maybe it's a little cliche, but like I guarantee you there are plenty of people out there who would take umbrage with a line like that and be like, well, like, no, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how somebody would justify that, but I feel like somebody out there's got to be doing that.
Well, it's the idea that like I think the criticism that and Ian Cohen gets this a little bit in his review, but I think that the criticism you level at this album, if you're is that as you grow, you find, more subtle or interesting ways to process these emotions or to get them out there in your art or whatever. And like it is an unsubtle album for sure.
Oh, for sure.
It is everything is right there on its face, but like I like that stuff, and maybe that's it has to do with me just liking pop punk since I was a small child. But
yeah,
like
we're both into pop punk and 90s emo. Like it's just the way it is.
So like I don't really buy that as a criticism. I think it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So if as you grow up and you get a little more cynical about that kind of expression, then like I can see how this would rub someone the wrong way. But like I feel like I've worked really hard to not get cynical in that way, because I think that earnest expression of emotions, as simple as they are, is like literally important to like the functioning of society and like people's ability to grow and exist.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, after that is I'm Gone, this is like a full-on Zach Shaw-led song for, I think, actually totally all the way through. I think it's the only one that he basically sings everything on. This is, if I had to pick a least favorite song on the album, it's probably this one, but this is still a pretty good song.
Yeah, like this is a really like, this is like as close we get to like traditional emo as we are going to on this album. I know that this band is not claiming emo at all at this point in their career, but like this, like just sonically, speaking specifically, like this is very like rooted in like early like second wave emo, I guess. I don't really know where the wave started.
It's the little shoutier and a little faster.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't have a lot to say about this song, but yeah, it's maybe a low point on the album, but it's still really, really good. So like, shrug.
Yeah, I like the sort of middle section. Again, this is another song that doesn't really have like a traditional structure, but this middle section, when the world is your mind erased, that whole thing, where they're doing the kind of like floor tom drum beat, and it's a little more like it's it's still fast, but it's not like it's not punk at that point. It's more of you're right, it's more akin to the older emo stuff. But just even those lines, like the melodies are kind of like off kilter in a way that is just really exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
I just love the way he extends and sings the word lungs at the end, so that last line of the song. The way his voice kind of breaks up, it's magic. It's funny that like I'm like, oh, he's clearly the less talented vocalist in this band. He's still like that good.
Yeah, it's really telling, honestly.
Yep. After that is Holiday, which is just like the perfect 1 minute burst of energy that literally just they yell punk rock saved my fucking life in the middle of it. It makes me want to be at a basement show.
Yep, same, honestly. Yeah, it's kind of a perfect little package in that way. Like you couldn't ask for more from a song like this.
Yeah, and this is another song that kind of like the opener is engaging with these ideas of like the system that wants this kind of monotony and a kind of like conformity, And they're I don't know. I have this image of I don't know. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but I have this image of them as these like kind of too smart brainiac, like they're too smart to care about school sort of type of kids who are writing
Right.
this stuff. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
exact type of person I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. I definitely do.
Yeah. And they were probably like annoying as hell when they were kids, but like they also were really talented, and I don't know, they knew what they were doing.
They just didn't do the homework, as it were.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't know, that feels like dismissive, but also like I don't know. I feel like I don't want to make too many, like I said, I don't want to make too many assumptions about it, but that is the image of them that I get from songs like these, and it's like endearing now, especially knowing that like they grow into, I think, like true artists.
Yeah, definitely. I will also say that looking at these lyrics and not listening to the song right now, I'm like, oh yeah, this would make a sick folk punk song too.
Yeah, well, the folk punk thing is like kind of not like brimming throughout this album, but in the beginning of Even the Keys Need to Be Locked Up is like straight up folk punk.
Yes, definitely.
And that genre was just big at the time. Like that, it makes sense that would be a reference point for a lot of what they were listening to.
Yeah, that was like the kind of the height of like AJJ's powers. In a lot of ways, was the early 2010s. Yeah,
good band.
Very good band.
After that is Stillwater Spectacle. This is the one that I think is like the most emo sounding. It's got those twinkly guitar parts that are right before the choruses are awesome. And just in general, I think this is like just a really solid Hotelier song, I think.
This is, I think, one of the songs that sonically like kind of most hints at what's going to become their signature sound going forward.
For sure.
For lack of a better way of putting it. Like I basically just said, yeah, this is like basically a latter career Hotelier song before that band existed in that form. Yeah, they do this thing in that song, or that thing in this song where they just kind of change the last line of the refrain, which I notably love. So I love it here too, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, like when it goes into the bridge. Yeah, I was like trying to. Yeah. I was just playing the song through in my mind.
Yeah, this song is just very good, and very like this was the one that I arrived at, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like kind of a blueprint for what comes after in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you get a lot of that sort of, but it still keeps the unbridled like energy of it. Even literally in the lyric, like we're letting it out the wildest shout. Like,
yeah,
it's this uncontainable youth that's in the song. That like again, not only did they express it, but they like knew what they were writing about and how they were expressing it. I don't even know. I'm just in awe of it.
Yeah, for sure.
After that is the closer, which is just called title track, or There Is a Light, depending on how you have your tags up. It just makes it clear this entire title is just a big old Smiths reference, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
that's another one of those things that it's like no one who's older than they were when they made this record would do that. But they're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I want to do a study on Smith's references in punk rock songs and just kind of see where the drop-off point is. Because I think about not even necessarily Smith's references, but like Morrissey specifically, but or more broadly, I suppose. Because I'm thinking about like early Touche Amore, specifically naming Morrissey, and I think if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they change the lyric in And It's Happening in Mine to not include Morrissey in the re-recording of To the Beat of a Dead Horse?
I'm going to admit that I don't know if I've ever listened to the re-recording of To the Beat of a Dead Horse, so I cannot tell you the answer.
Okay, totally fair. I will check later on. But it doesn't matter.
Clearly the best pop punk Morrissey reference is the Wonder Years lyric that's I don't think I love anything the way some people love Morrissey.
Yes, fair.
It's not going to get better than that.
No, it's definitely not. But yeah, sorry, not to harp too much on Morrissey, but he does suck as a person, and I hate him. And John Darnielle never liked him, and he was correct to feel that way. That's my requisite Mountain Goats reference for this episode. Anyway.
I just this song is much like the opener. These two bookends of this album that are kind of songs from a different angles about the ideas of privilege and recognizing privilege and how you grow from that into striving for a better world. And whereas like the opening track is this like it's a manifesto and this is a reflection.
Yeah.
And and they kind of get to the same place, I think, ultimately, this idea that you have to, you have to break with the path that the world, the system, whatever, wants you to conform to. But I think that this song makes it like it centers the idea of recognizing that there's other people who don't have the head start that you had to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, like you said, like this whole song just feels like a real reflection on that. Like exactly. The fact that not everybody is in the position to think the way you do, let alone, act upon those ideals.
Right. And again, there's one of those things where I was like, I cannot believe, one, that the 18-year-old or whatever wrote this, and two, that it just still today, the idea that like desiring to spit straight into the face of billionaires is, that's a potent line. But then,
Yep.
to follow that right up with, but I'm too damn far cowardly to do this on my own, is like to have that impulse, to recognize that you have that impulse, that is what you should, like, that's the right thing to do, and then to recognize at the same time that like you might not have the strength to do it yourself, and it's not even like it's not even like a song about like, I don't know, building up a resistance or whatever. It's just like a song about recognizing your own flaws, even if you and where you can grow from, I think. And this sort of one of the things that Christian, as the writer, or assume, presumably the narrator, is striving for at the end of the song is this idea that like, my life's a flower and it's growing. But the trick is always knowing it's the rain that keeps us pure. But that line, that stanza ends with, "So when the sun rises, I can shut out all my doubt," which is this like, that maybe someday, if we, I mean, again, and this is like gets even hints at like a sort of communing with nature thing that they investigate much more on goodness. But this idea that like, maybe in rejecting the the standard modern path, you can maybe find some certainty in how you want to live. And
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's certainly not easy to do that, and it's certainly not easy to do it in a way that puts yourself at any kind of risk.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how much I don't know if I have anything else to say about the song. I love it. I love it as a closing track. It's I don't know. I guess we should talk about the last line. So that it ends with this line, this "I'll see the world for what I want it to be and nothing else," which is like so optimistic, and at the same time feels like, I'm like, is that too short-sighted? Is that too like do you have blinders on? Are you not willing to see, to entertain some opposing opinion? But I also am just so in love with that. I mean, that's what this album is about, is that kind of, it's that kind of certainty that you only have when you're that young.
Yeah, no, like I got to that line like while I was, doing a focused like sit down with the lyrics, and I was just like, man, I don't know how I feel about that. And like and then racked my brain of the complicated feelings I had around that, and I think kind of arrived in the same place. Like I want to read this as an optimism that is radical, but also trying to be realistic given everything that's come before it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes you ask the question, like, should radical optimism, like, should it be tainted by realism? Well, it's even, look back at the lyrics of Holiday. Like, you say you're a realist. Well, I really know what I want. I'm just figuring out how to get there. Like, it's the same. It's dealing with the same. It's almost like they answered the question that we have earlier on the album.
Yeah.
I just think that this it's awesome that this band's first album is so rich and so again, despite being clearly a product of youth, is, like I said, it just feels, I don't know. I'm just repeating stuff we've said before. It's a great album.
Yeah. Well, no, like this is what I love to see from, what I would love to see from any fucking high school band is this kind of level of just, I used the word self-awareness, but just like also vulnerability, like the being willing to like be at this point in your life where you feel like you have so much certainty, to the degree that you can have certainty about anything, but to also be very open about how much uncertainty there still is amongst all of that is like kind of profound for high schoolers. Like I feel like I'm starting to like edge towards I'm 15 and this is deep, but like, actually though, I don't know.
Almost like it's circled around. It circles around again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like it's exactly what we're talking about with this idea of like you grow and you get cynical, but then you come around to realize that the purity of those emotions that you felt as a teenager is important.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, the one age you could not have that you cannot write this album at is like 25. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. You're a little too jaded at that point, but not yet at the point where you've come around to the other side of it. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's, I don't know. It captures that moment in time so perfectly. I mean, and of course, like plenty of artists can express stuff like this, but the other thing that we've, of course, like sort of implicitly, been hinting at with this is like like not only are we into what they're writing about on this record, the performances are so good, the melodies are so good, the songs are insane, and that's why this holds up, more than that's why it's a record and not just a manifesto.
Yeah, like everything just melds together so well on this record. Like the musicianship on this record is insane for teenagers, like just straight up.
Yeah.
And like not, contrasting it with Paramore, like they did not have the resources that Paramore had. So like there you go.
No, but it gets at the same, like the thing I always am into is like I think that music that's made with a huge budget or with no budget, it can be equally resonant and equally powerful. Just like I think that like you can have a profound emotional experience at a basement show, just like you can have a profound emotional experience at an arena.
Yeah.
I think that the delivery methods are different, but the core of what I love about music, like a great song, works at any level and with any budget.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's a good, like, I don't know. I don't know how much else there's to say about the album at this point. I think we both just really love it.
I'm so glad that like I have taken the time to like really revisit this, because I think it's the Hotelier album that I return the least to. And I think that's largely because I didn't, connect with it as early on as you did, and also came to it retrospectively from home. I don't think that my current experience of it is diminished by that at all, though. Like I think kind of having that retrospective view, if anything, has given me more appreciation for like the roots from which everything else grew.
Yeah, for sure. All right, should we do some random recommendations?
Yeah, you want to go first this week?
Do I have any random recommendation prepared? I don't think that I do. Hold on.
You can say.
Give me a second. All right. Oh, I know what I'm going to recommend. Duh, I should have had this ready. Our friends in the band Better Love just put out a new EP this week called A Quiet Place to Go. I know we're recording this episode a little bit early, so we're a little bit late on this rec, but the EP will still be there, presumably, and still be great. Yeah. No, this EP is called A Quiet Place to Go. It is I would say a bit of a stylistic turn for them. It feels a little more like their reimagined EP in tone. It's they've come so far from like the kind of pop punk leaning band they used to be, and this is now very it's a pop record. And not that their last couple of things haven't been, but it's they're playing with a lot of interesting pop production, and there's even a song in there that leans a little bit country that made me really, really want to hear a Better Love Country album. So I hope that's a thing that happens sometime in the future. But for now, this EP is awesome. Is this episode coming out before the release show? No, it is not, because that's this coming Friday.
Yeah.
So when you hear this, I hope you were at their album release show, and if you are not, or have not heard this album or this EP, highly recommended. Better Place to Go by Better Love. A Quiet Place to Go by Better Love.
Yeah, I was scrolling through my recently listened to stuff, and I was like, I should just talk about that Better Love EP. But here I am not talking about it because you already did. But I think I want to recommend the new McKinley-Dixon album. It came out a little while ago. McKinley-Dixon is a Chicago-based rapper. I think he also does a lot of production work. He released one of my favorite albums of was it 2022 or 2023? Either way, he released an album a few years ago called Beloved Paradise Jazz, which was just this really stellar record that just like much like a lot of bands we've talked about, just like wears a lot of its influences on its sleeve and like melds them together in super fun ways. And his new album Magic Alive does a lot of the same stuff, but like better and cooler. And like I think it just becomes like this cool like melting pot of genres and influences, and just I don't know. Like it's one of those records where I put it down and I was like, I think I kind of want to listen to that again, and I didn't immediately because I had other stuff to listen to. But like that's not an impulse I always have. So it's always the sure sign of a good record. So that's Magic Alive by McKinley-Dixon.
Cool. I got to check that one out.
All right.
All right. So next week we will be back continuing our Hotelier series with an album that is, just phenomenally important to probably both of us and to just about everyone who's ever heard this band. That is Home Like No Place Is There. In the meantime, check us or find us on the internet at noisefloorpodcast.com and on Instagram at noisefloorpod. And I did those things in the reverse order, and I always want to end on what we're talking about next week. That's okay. But yeah, we'll be back next week talking about Home Like No Place Is There.
See y'all then.